Today, family, we're going to talk with Dr. Rosie Milligan. Dr. Milligan is the author of Satisfying the Black Man and Satisfying the Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, amongst other books. Tonight, we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about it from the aspect of looking at it from the eyes of money. Is that old adage, no romance, no finance? Does that still apply in today's world? Maybe it applies more so today than ever before. We have a whole host of issues that we want to raise as we talk about relationships. And, of course, for those of you in our listening audience, you'll be listening to this show recorded, but you can still email us questions. You can email me directly at Jamaal at libradio.com. We'll be broadcasting on LIB Radio. You can email me at innerlightradio@yahoo.com, where this show is going to be originating tonight. Entering into Kemet New Dimensions is none other than a special guest, and she's making a return visit, none other than Dr. Rosie Milligan. Dr. Milligan, I want to welcome you to Inner Light Radio, Kemet New Dimensions. How are you?
Great, and thank you.
It's our pleasure for having you tonight. Dr. Milligan, let's go straight forward. Romance and finance. Do these two have to be really aligned to have a successful relationship?
They really do, because in America, manhood is validated by the acquisition of money, power, and land. And when men feel as if they do not have either one of these, it makes them feel somewhat insecure and not feeling total essence as to what a man really should be. And because women have bought into that notion, too, as to what money a man should bring to the table, then she began to judge him based on his economic status. And unfortunately so, when women are dating, they see and understand what financial state that men are in, and they will still go ahead and enter into marriage because they want to satisfy a social role status that, quote, unquote, that I am married. And then once they get married, they started putting pressure on these men to provide the American dream. What America say that a man should provide for a woman. He should put her in a home that she likes. He should make sure that she has a decent car to drive, and all the other things that she needs. That it is his role to take care of her. It is his role, as they say, to bring in the bacon. And it's really kind of interesting, because these women know before they get married to these men what their economic status is. But we still buy into the American status of life as to what a man should be. So there are some issues.
Now, when we talk about African Americans living out this quote-unquote American dream, so to speak, that American dream seemingly has never been obtainable for most African Americans. So why do we hold on to it?
Well, I think one thing that we have to recognize that we are not Caucasian clones. When you look at the fact that someone is asking you to provide for your wife what the white man is able to provide for his woman, when he's the one, say you're working for him, how can you be in the same economic status? So I think we've never separated what we should be as a man or woman. I think it's time that we, on a national level, Jamaal, define what manhood is and what womanhood is in the context that makes us whole and feel accepted as social beings, not based on what the American mainstream has considered what a man or woman should be.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, it's because of certain values that we are holding on to, even though these values are not quote-unquote our own. These are values that we're striving to obtain, either consciously or subconsciously, and it's because of these values that our relationships are being torn apart.
Yes, it's because we mimic, and all we say and do, even when we say and we're not trying to be like the white man or the white woman, we still have the tendency to try to measure up to the roles that they have set out for themselves. And you have to understand, with blacks, being brought to this country as slaves, and you're looking at the white man who's able to take care of his family, to have his wife to stay home, and that's because he had black people in the field doing the labor. He had black folks taking care of his children, being the nanny, taking care of all of their needs. And what we saw being here is
Dr. Milligan, one of the things that I've been very curious about as it pertains to this whole dynamic in relationships, especially African-American relationships, is the one that makes the most money seems to be the one that sets all the rules.
And that should not be. And that's because a man only allow a woman to set the rules if she makes the most money, because he buys into the fact that manhood, that money validates manhood. So when he steps into that type of role and he allows a woman to have all the say-so because she's making more money, I can guarantee you, Jamaal, that's a man that is very insecure and is one that is feeling insecure in a relationship, and I can guarantee you is one that cannot give his all in a relationship and does not feel like a man in that relationship.
The 90s, the 80s, the 70s seem to produce a mindset amongst women, and even African American women, of independence, financial independence in particular. And with financial independence came this whole notion of who needs a man?
Well, that's because it's sad that if a person feels like their relationship with a man is really based on economic status. I can think of so many things that a man can bring to a relationship, just like a woman. The relationship should be based on someone who cares about each other. You have a conversation. It goes to stroking the mind before the behind. The mind is very important, because I don't care how much money you have. When you wake up to someone that doesn't have anything intellectually to offer, and you being an intellectual inclined man, it can get very dull and stale in a household where you're dealing with a woman you can't have a decent conversation with other than what's on television or what she heard in the news. She's not analytical. She buys into the media hype. You have something on your hand if you're an intelligent man. So it goes far beyond money.